So welcome back to the Fordson Major restoration overhaul. So just to update you then on what's been done since I finished the last video when I ran out of darkness. So the manifold and intake are now back on with new gasket. Rocker cover's back on. I've put new air hose on, new water hoses, used some sealant around the manifold as well, just to make sure that was okay. Cleaned the air filter out. That was horrendous in there. It was absolutely thick, black, nasty stuff. Nose cone is back on, and I changed the oil filter. I think I'd done that in the previous one, diesel filter, etc. When it came to starting it up for the first time, there was a bit of a diesel lock. So what I had to do was to manually pump the lift pump and just crack this union off here so all the air came through, and then as I was still pumping, tighten that back up so it filled the filter housing, and then just cracked it off this side to make sure again I got my son to keep pumping the lift pump so it was coming out, and then as it was coming out just lock the nut back up again, or the union there, so that there was no air in the system. If there had have been still air in the system, what I would have done is cracked off each injector to make sure again the same thing. I've also put a brand new battery on, a Goliath battery from my local agri store. Again, new hoses. Now these are Vapormatic hoses, and I have to say I'm very impressed with the fit of them. Really good. I've used Vapormatic before on a few things. What have I also done? I've also just temporarily repaired this wing, as I said I was going to, because it was really bad. What I need to do today is just to put some kind of plate on down the bottom here, just to stop this bit from flapping around, just so I can use it really, because it's an ongoing rolling restoration. The bonnet has just had first coat of blue. Nose cone has had a coat of blue, but I'm going to go for an oily rag finish on this. So what I'll do in a bit later in the video is I'm going to show you how I can achieve that, because I don't want to get the spray gun out and repaint all the bell housing and everything, and I want to use this. What I have done as well, you'll notice, is the wheels have had the first coat. Actually, that front wheel's had 2 coats, the back one's had 1, and then in comparison to the other side, obviously they've had none at all at the minute. This one just needs to be rubbed down finally before it's ready for a coat. So what I'm going to do today is go over it with paint, the whole thing in the blue, but then finish it in an oily rag kind of patina style. So I'll crack on for a bit, and then I'll come back to the camera and show you how I'm trying to achieve that. Right, so trying to achieve this patina look. You can see that the tractor's certainly well used. Take the wings for example. The tank was the same as per the previous picture. And there's a couple of ways of doing this. So I'm gonna use the front bar here and the gearbox bell housing as an example, and then the bonnet as well. So the bonnet obviously was a much darker colour, it's like a red. So what I've done with the bonnet is I've used a really cheap and cheerful foam roller from, I think it's B&Q, and literally all I'm doing with a bit of paint is going on quickly. There's no preparation on this at all. Apart from giving it a very quick rub down to make sure there's no loose bits of rust or anything on there. I haven't give this a key as such, and those that would have seen the other videos for the Land Rovers, etc., I do like a nice paint finish, but I'm going to use this tractor a lot. I'm going to use it quite hard. So you can see here that by giving it a very quick going over with this, you've still got some of the colour coming through. It's not a perfect block colour. And then what I'm going to do with this after is just give it a very light sanding, and then literally rub it with an oily rag. And and it should give me the finish I'm looking for. I don't want a bright finish, I want a matte finish like it's been weathered. I'm going to do the same with the wheels. But another way of doing it, and like I said, that is very much on the bonnet because it was a completely different colour. Another way of doing it is with a rag and some paint, and this is Empire Blue. I'll just try not to get the dog. Have you done it? Is you can rub it on, and again, there's no prep on this at all. Now what you'll see is that as I'm doing this, it's picking up oil and residue that's already on the tractor. And for the purists out there, they're going, oh my God, boy, what are you doing? That's sacrilege. As far as I'm concerned, that just brings the colour out without giving it a complete respray. Are you helping? It brings the colour out. So then from a distance, when you come back, like I said, I don't mind the tank and the nose cone and the bonnet being a little bit more of a block colour, but for the rest of the bodywork, I do want that kind of real used patina look, and it will be covered with oil. So again, just on this part, get your paint onto a rag and rub it on like that. Now, it really will. You do 2 or 3 coats of that, and because you're rubbing it on rather than spraying it or rollering it or anything, some of it will kind of soak in, some of it won't, it'll come off, but again, it's the patina finish. So even already now on this bit here that I've just done, because it's quite mild and sunny today, it's just starting to dry off. And if you back off and then look around at it from a distance, you can see that the 2 parts I've done, this part here and this part here, and by the time I've done all that, it'll blend in without it looking too new, too fancy, too blingy, because it's not. It's an old tractor, it runs well, tin work's not great at all, so I don't want to make it look all swanky and nice. That's not what I'm trying to do. Again, on the tank, same rag. So I've already put a quick coat on this just with the roller. What I'm trying to do now is just while it's still a little bit damp, just give it a bit of a rub look. And it's just starting to bring up some, it's difficult to see because it's reflecting off the sun. But by the time I've done this a bit later on, once this paint's gone off and I go over it with an oily rag, it'll come up nice. So I'll carry on, I'll get a few more bits done, and I'll come back and show you once all this is back on, and I'll get the dog out of the way before I paint the dog and get in trouble with the wife. Okay, so I've done a little bit more around here. And down here again, and like I say, all I've been doing is rubbing the paint on, you know, with a rag, dipping the rag into the paint, rubbing it on very unevenly, and then now what I'm going to do is do the oily rag. So I've just got some really old oil here that's it's been sat in the garage for a little bit. So oil on and over the top, so you can see here, look, I'm now rubbing into the paint. It's still a little bit soft, the paint is, which is good because that's exactly the look I'm going for. And then what I'm going to do is with a cleaner one after, it's just rub it off. So the tank that was, get that back into focus, the tank even that was obviously, you know, clean and shiny on the top, you can see it a little bit more on the bottom. Again, oily rag. I've very quickly painted the wings, again just with the rag. Dolly, leave it, leave it, thank you, goodness me. And you carry on doing this now, just to get that particular finish that you can see on the top of the tank here now. So that is literally all. It's that easy. Like I said, I'm not looking for a show vehicle here at all, but I want something that from a distance, you know, is now starting to look the right colours. And again, I'm going to do the same with the wheels. So what I'll do now is I'm going to crack on doing all these bits, and then I will come back to it reassembled, having finished the oily rag over all the top of the paint in a little while, and we'll see what it looks like. Bye for now. Okay, so a few hours later, and as you can see, the tin work is all back together now. So the bonnet's on. It is lifted a little bit at the front and needs to do a couple of minor adjustments. You can see everything's now painted, and as I said before, this is done using the oily rag technique. So by no means is she a show winner. However, she's one kind of solid colour really on the wings and the bonnet, and the front cowl and the gearbox, etc. The back end, to be honest, I haven't really done anything with yet. I'm running out of time. All the wheels are done now, the front's done as well. So this will bring part 2 to a close, and then what I'm going to do in part 3 is get her out down the field, get it running properly, check for any oil leaks, water leaks, etc. I noticed the tap on the front underneath the radiator was dripping a little bit, so I've just tightened that up. Check all the bearings and the wheels, etc. I want to use it now really and get it out down the field and give it a good kind of hour or so. Let the engine get up to proper temperature, let the oil get circulating around, check all the hydraulics and everything again. They were fine, but obviously she's now got fresh oil, so make sure there's no airlocks in anything. I am having to start her on the solenoid at the minute. Start her on the solenoid. Because the original starter motor had seized up. So all I'm doing so there is still a little bit of smoke coming out of it, but I know that some of the carbon deposits had fallen inside the manifold, so I'm hoping give her a good run now and that should start to clear. Worst case scenario is there's a little bit of oil that's seeping back down into the piston chambers, and that's just burning off, because once she's been running for 5-10 minutes that does actually disappear, or it certainly has been doing. So yeah, it's now time to get out and about, start using her and see what needs doing. I do intend on painting the inside of the wheels at some point in the next couple of weeks, but I wanted to get it in a state where I can actually take it out to the road and use her now to a degree, and just looking half decent, albeit from a distance, but I'm happy really. Like I say, this is a very cheap tractor, cheap to buy, hopefully she's cheap to run, and yeah, like I say, part 3, get her out in the field and see what she can do. Thanks for watching as always.